Are you ready to go berserk at your enemies, aggressively attacking like an unstoppable force? Do you want a build that lets you stack debuffs and attack aggressively, whilst having the safety net of defy death? Then let me introduce you to the Sin Hatchet build. The Sin Hatchet build is a DPS melee build focused on applying debuffs with the spear and attacking up close with the hatchet. So what makes the Sin Hatchet build? We start with Sin. Sin is a new hatchet artifact. Its unique perk, Corruption, causes debuffs to last 25% longer and applies to both weapons. Whilst the hatchet does apply a couple of debuffs, our main use for this perk will be to extend the debuffs from our spear. Its second unique perk, Defy, increases damage by 2% per debuff on a target and stacks up to 5 times. With the debuffs being applied from our spear, along with the debuffs applied from our allies, we will almost instantly get to the max 10% damage buff. Sin comes with Keenly Jagged, another debuff for Defile, and Refreshing Move. For the final perk, we have added a gem slot. For our spear, we are using a spear with the perks Enfeebling Skewer, Vicious, and Keenly Empowered. Enfeebling Skewer causes Skewer to apply a massive 47% weaken. This is huge. Having someone using a spear with this perk is almost mandatory for most M3 groups. For our armor, we are in a light equip load. For our chest, we are using the new artifact, Nature's Wrath. Nature's Wrath's unique perk, Nature's Blessing, causes limited duration in power to no longer apply, but provides a constant 20% damage buff. This works great on a hatchet build, as the majority of hatchet and power buffs are not limited duration, so will still apply. We will cover this further when looking at the skill tree. Nature's Wrath comes with Refreshing and Enchanted Ward. For the final perk, we have added Health. For our helm, we are using Health, Enchanted Ward, and Refreshing Torrent. For the gloves and feet, we are using Health, Refreshing, and Enchanted Ward. And for our legs, we are using Refreshing, Enchanted Ward, and Thrust Conditioning. This gives us 4 health, 5 Enchanted Ward, and 4 Refreshing. For our amulet, we are using Health and an element protection perk that matches the element of the mutation we are doing. For the ring, we are using Hearty, Slash Damage, and Leeching. For the earring, we are using Refreshing Toast, Nimble, and Healing Heart. For our attributes, we are using 350 Strength, 205 Dex, and 50 Con. As both weapons scale with both Strength and Dex, we want to use a combination of them both. Overall, the attribute threshold bonuses from Strength provide more benefits than those from Dex in this build. Therefore, we put more points into Strength, with the remainder going into Dex. We keep 50 in Con to provide us with some health, and the bonus of plus 10% to physical armor. For our skills, on the hatchet, we are using Rending Throw, Raging Torrent, and Berserk. Rending Throw provides a 20% rend. Raging Torrent provides damage, and thanks to the Refreshing Torrent perk, reduces cooldowns. Berserk is our main skill. It provides a 20% damage buff, haste, lifesteal, cleanse, and grants uninterruptible. Whilst Berserk is limited duration, the 20% in power from Berserk itself is not. It therefore still applies whilst wearing Nature's Wrath. This means we get the 20% damage buff from Nature's Wrath, alongside the 20% damage buff from Berserk. Other passives from the skill tree, such as Against All Odds and Exploitation, are also not limited duration, so will also still apply. This makes Nature's Wrath a great pairing with the Hatchet. The uninterruptible bonus from Berserk can also be extremely useful, preventing us from being knocked down, which is especially useful against certain enemies such as tendrils. Defy Death, the ultimate passive, is also amazing for the build. It allows us to attack non-stop, even on low health, without risk of death. This is extremely useful to protect your score on expeditions. It can also be used to get around certain boss mechanics, such as the final boss in Genesis. For our skills, on the spear, we are using Perforate, Skewer, and Sweep. Perforate provides damage, rend, and weaken. Skewer provides damage, empower, and bleed. And Sweep provides knockdown and damage. Combined, these skills provide multiple debuffs, which thanks to the corruption perk on Sin, will all be extended by 25% and will all boost Sin's damage from the Defile perk. The main idea of the build is to initially use our spear skills to apply the debuffs, then switch to the Hatchet and go Berserk. Let's now take a look at some of the main pros of the build. Defy Death. One of the major pros of using a Hatchet is Defy Death. Allowing you to attack without risk of death is extremely useful. Strong versus Angry Earth. The majority of our damage will be slash damage from our Hatchet, which the Angry Earth take 20% more damage from. Ranged attacks. Whilst we will be playing in melee with the spear and the Hatchet, we have also taken the aimed throw passive, allowing us to use thrown hatchets. This can be useful to pull enemies from ranged, or to fight certain bosses where a ranged attack is more beneficial. Strong debuffs. Through use of the spear, this build applies high weaken and rend. That's it for the video. If you have any questions about the build, drop a comment below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.